I don't want to make this an extremely long intro that I want to post, which is basically just hello, hi, introduction to who I am. Video of everything going through my head. My room is a disaster in it, but how can I be authentic and not show that? Just cleaned everything in this bitch. You're on a selfie stick. Yup. I just cleaned everything in this bitch. And I was like, oh, I should just remake that. But I can't remake that. I can't say the same thoughts again. Really, I didn't even make that intending to make a YouTube video. But then I stopped recording and I was like, fuck it. Do it. Do it now. Not right now. What impulse decision are we thinking? Why don't I just like put it on YouTube? People just sit in their cars and talk and post it on YouTube. Why don't I do it? Why don't I sit in my messy room and talk and post on YouTube? That's where we are. So, from now on, we have this cool setup, but enjoy me just chatting. Sometimes my head feels blank, but it doesn't. It actually has like 200 other thoughts running through it, and I can't make sense of everything at once. So a lot of the time, because I don't talk to anybody, I go quiet and I spend all of my time trying to make sense of whatever is inside my head. And then when I'm done making sense of it, I feel like I'm ready to talk. I feel like my perspectives and my words are clear and true again. Like, I don't know how to explain it entirely, but sometimes when I spend too much time quiet, I spend too much time inside my head, I spend too much time thinking about the persona of Brianna Stewart, that I end up feeling like I'm working towards something, like constantly. What the fuck am I working towards? I don't know. Maybe I'll get into my philosophies at some point. I don't want to talk about my philosophies right now. Maybe my whole thing is that, like, I could talk about a million things. I don't want to talk about everything all the time, but I feel like I have to talk about everything that I'm thinking about. So, my life is full of continuous humble beginnings. This is right now. I haven't lived in this house in a long time. Yeah, I'm struggling with confidence because I'm not entirely sure of who I am. I don't really want to chase who I want to be right now because I feel like through my own spirituality, honestly, I feel like chasing a person of who I want to be will inevitably leave me different than that person, most likely well off, but I'm not gonna be satisfied because I'm still not gonna be exactly what I wanted. I'm not gonna be exactly what I envisioned. Like, it doesn't, that, I like to see things through, and especially when it comes to my identity, I like to full-heartedly live through something and let it consume me, mold me, alter me for the better and for the worse, because in the end we all have to change, and I'd rather be different through experience and growth than through pain and suffering. I don't really know what half the shit that I say means when it comes out of my mouth sometimes. If I write it down on paper and I look over 7 times, I'm like, oh, if I heard that coming out of someone else's mouth, that would make sense. it is not the same when I talk. When I write, I have people tell me that it caters from age range of 16 to fucking 60. I do not practice my blogs. I sit down in front of a computer and my head just has a feeling to it. And I turn it off. Like it's like a conscious decision. I'm like, no. Nothing else exists right now. But at the end of the day, after everything that I think, what am I thinking right now? What are my feelings? And I just write. It takes me 20 minutes. I read it over like 10 times. And then I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's a funny title. And I post it. That's it. I've been called a selfish person for not ignoring my own feelings, but in my efforts to protect myself throughout the years, I've allowed my sense of identity to be lost. I feel like I've allowed my idea of fun to be lost. I have lived almost every day of my life for the past 2 years through the lens of a converting Buddhist, basically. I have learned to genuinely let go of everything, to be at peace, but I think what I've come full circle around to is that I wanted to lose everything about who I was as a member of society because I didn't like who I was when I tried to fit in. And I tried to become who a community would benefit from. I have always wanted to be something beneficial. I've always wanted to profit off of my ability to never stop thinking. Because my never stopping thinking generally caters to people and their emotions and how they're feeling and their exact lives, because as much as you can let everything go, we are human before we are anything, and we are in the present before we are anything. And I am every past and future version of myself, but I can't be any of those if I am not right here. Right here matters because what you do right here determines tomorrow, right? What about yesterday? Yesterday determines today. Today determines tomorrow. Tomorrow determines the next day. How do you think of that in a non-drowning way? Well, you just think about how you can do it best. How can I be the best? What happens when you become the best? You have to like where you are. Otherwise, when you reach where you want to be, you will only want to keep going. And that is really, really powerful if you are trying to drive momentum for yourself. You are trying in general. That is great, but that security at the end that I chase for, it's not anything tangible. It's an idea. It's dreamers thing. Like it's nothing specifically tangible that can be given to me. Therefore, I must create it. Does that make sense? Because if I don't be right now, I can't translate that to the future. And future me can't be that person. So even if I did have the goal, I would have it with no substance. Like, everything is balanced. Everything is give and take. Everything. I think I've been scared of who I am with balance. I'm an extreme hopper. I go from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum because I believe without one, what can the other be? And so then I have to know it entirely and completely engrossed in it. And when I know it, I know all of it. and I disregard the good for the bad and I jump again. And I don't want to do that anymore because that's not real. There is no good and bad. The bad exists because of the good and the good exists because of the bad. Like, and it almost triggers the thought of insignificance, but it's almost because you're on the cusp of meaning nothing that it means so much more. If I can pull myself through today to tomorrow I have a stronger person in my corner, right? The struggles of today have to exist though, to benefit off of the lessons that I will learn or know tomorrow. So today, I have to put myself out there. I just put my phone up on the windowsill and I had no idea what I was going to talk about, and that's what I talked about. That's what I was thinking. That's what someone else needs to hear, apparently. I don't know. I don't like the idea of living in a delusion. What I'm trying to say here is, like, there are people literally all over the world. We get thoughts all the fucking time. It's not delusional to pick up your phone and press record and talk about what you're feeling. Talk about what you're thinking. Talk about your theories and share it because someone else is interested. That's not delusional. It's not delusional. There is somebody else out there who is absolutely interested in what you have to say. There is somebody out there who needs to hear the very words coming out of your mouth. Needs to. And it has nothing to do with who you are or anything about discerning your ego or anything completely interpersonal. It's not like that. About something more superficial. It's about a human being dealing with feelings that you also share similar feelings. The whole understanding that another human being, not being alone, understanding that another human being thinks the exact same thing is the only tangible thing that's gonna help someone think that what they're doing is right. If you spend every single day by yourself, or if you don't talk to anybody who has similar interests, if you don't just talk about what's going on in your head, you're gonna think it's delusional for the rest of your life. You will always think it is delusional, a percentage of outlandish, somewhat inconceivable. You will always have an idea of doubt because you never did anything with it. Pursue! There's nothing else to do with our time here on earth but to share and grow and learn and pursue. You find something interesting, literally go look it up. Do a deep dive, travel to that country, go do whatever is weird as fuck. Be different, make people look. Not every reaction that is outwardly negative towards you and how you express yourself and the truth that you share and the identity that you present, it is not a bad thing. People with different morals and people who do not like you will make you know. People who will never have your best interest at heart will forever be honest about that. And you need to be honest about how willing you are to protect the person that you're presenting and to stand for them. All I gotta say is, I think it's normal. You know what? Gen Z are here. I think it's normal to put my phone on a window and talk to it for 20 minutes. I do. What? Do you journal? Do you read? Do you draw? I draw too. I sew. I journal. But I like talking. A lot. I love talking. So this is what I do. A year ago, I wouldn't do this. 3 years ago, I would have done something like this, yeah. 5 years ago? But this is what I do right now. This helps me right now. This is me. This is helping me be me. I don't want to struggle with my identity and communication anymore. And I don't want people to feel delusional about completely rational decisions that they're making in the 21st century.
I stop recording and I keep having thoughts that I want to share. I must add in here, I do believe that I am a little bit psychic. This is gonna make everything I said potentially meaningless to a large audience. But a person only, I had this thought come in my head. Only a person who knows their pain can see others in it. Which is making me think about only a person who is so insecure knows how to make someone else insecure, right? Only such a mean person can make someone else feel that way. Both ends of the spectrum, to know one, to make someone feel one, you have to know it. Your brain can only go off of all of the information in here, regardless if you have a lot of it or none. Your brain goes off of what you know. It can only do something different if you look at it differently. You can only do better for people if you do better for yourself. And who doesn't want to do better for themselves? Which then creates this little pipeline of people who want to build a great community. And then suddenly, society is no longer, and we are one big community. I think with that ending, we could all be in the rolling grass hills dancing and entertaining our bleak interests while our time runs out. And honestly, what the fuck else could you ask for? Like,